Welcome to TRG 30 here on Wednesday, the 23rd of February. Jill Robinson joining us as always to talk about TRG and what TRG 30 is about. Jill, bold change for resilience.
Self-directed learning and professional development. Boy, are we going to be talking about that and more. Thank you. Good afternoon. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to TRG 30, where we talk about bold change for our sector's resilience. Now, this is a time of the day when I am talking to you about the things that you should be listening for, but today, we're going to be listening to you. We will be listening to you and about you. And in addition to making this about and listening to you, we want you to engage with us. So put your hands on that chat feature as we engage with you over the next 30 minutes. We will be giving you prompts, but today we will be all ears. And I know that there are managers, contractors, coordinators, directors, executives, even artists in our TRG 30 community, our virtual room today. All of you make our arts and cultural organizations, our creative sector hum on a daily basis. It's you. I say it regularly. You do, people do. You're the fuel. You're the propellant that makes things happen for your organization. And at TRG, we think the time is now to give serious and purposeful attention and priority to your talent, your development, in the same way that you give it to your budgets and your operating results, your goals, your campaigns, your revenue targets. So it's with this in mind that we're launching now a new initiative that we call Talent Lab. And it's going to be focused on exactly that. And today, as a result, I have with me, and I will be joined by Keri, Mesropov, who is the strategist and inspiration behind Talent Lab. Keri's been with TRG for more than 15 years. She started as a consultant, became our vice president of client service, has always served on our senior leadership team. She was an arts administrator in fundraising and marketing for many years prior to joining TRG. We have named Keri our Chief Talent Officer. This title signals our intention, our seriousness, and our long haul, think 2032 and 42, you all, our long haul seriousness about committing to and developing you and our own team here at TRG, the talented people who make things happen. Keri, welcome to you. I want to start with a question. It's sort of a two-pronged question, actually. This focus on people, I know it inspires you, talents and organizational culture. Why does it inspire you? And as importantly, why should this field of really stressed and strapped people right now care about caretaking, prioritize caretaking people?
Mm-hmm. I'm so excited to be in this virtual community with all of you, and as always with you, Jill. Okay, what about this interests me? The truth is, people captivate me. You captivate me. What I believe is that there is nothing more interesting, exciting, more attractive than a fully lit up human being. That is what I believe. And so I have worked with so many of you who are on this virtual call today, and I have seen you when you have been lit up and you've been spectacular. I have worked with some of you when you've been depleted and knocked down, and I've had so much empathy for what you've been going through. And this compels me. This compels me. As you say, people do. People are the propellant, and people compel me. What else compels me is the cost of losing you, the cost to our organization of losing you. Here's a study, according to a study from LinkedIn Learning, each time an employee leaves an organization, it costs between 50 and 250% of that person's annual salary. And the longer someone has been with us, the more influence they have, the higher that number. It's a lot. It's a lot. It includes the time it takes to recruit for that position. It includes the training up of a new team member. It includes the little bit of hard costs that it takes to advertise the position. Think too about the momentum that's lost when we lose a team member. That knowledge, that productivity walks out the door. And lastly, consider what it means to be a team member who is remaining on staff, right? We have to roll up our sleeves, we have to lean in, we have to support. And that is interesting, dare I say, exhilarating for a period of time. And then it takes its toll. I know you understand this. So 50 to 250% cost each time a you walks out the door. It compels me and TRG to find ways to retain you, retain people on our teams.
Okay, so that is super compelling. You know what it reminds me of? In arts or in audiences and patronage, we talk about how the field over prospects and under retains. And Keri, I think it may be the same too with our internal talent. So retention, lots of work to be done around this concept of developing and retaining talent. So one thing, if you were to say to this TRG 30 community, what's one thing they should be focusing on to retain and attract, but retain new talent, what would you say?
Yeah, there's this old song, love the one you're with.
Yeah.
Loving the ones we're with is what we can do. Developing the ones we're with, learning, providing opportunities and time and space for ourselves, for our teams to learn and upskill people. Studies show time and time again that providing opportunities and time for our team and ourselves to learn grows their retention with our company. It ushers you to your peak performance place when you're learning something new. It boosts your confidence. It boosts, therefore, the confidence of your managers, your bosses. And all of this leads to results to the bottom line. Results, efficiency, and consistency in momentum. So developing the ones we're with, developing you, is far less costly than losing a team member. Think about the data that I just showed you. It's a better return on investment. Here's another interesting data point, another study by LinkedIn. They asked about 2,400 people, professionals across fields, what would be the number one most important reason that would cause you to look for another job? And by far, the answer was, you put a lid on my ability to upskill, my ability to learn new things, and my eye will be wandering. This study was done pre-pandemic, and I was super curious to see if this still held true. It did. This next data point is from a study that was completed at the end of 2021 and is now part of a LinkedIn trends for 2022. The question is slightly different, but the point is the same. If we want a best-in-class work culture, we need to attend to the development of our people. And boy, do we need to attend to that and develop you. This is the time. Think about what you've been through, what we have been through over the last 2 years. I think about the words that were slightly breaking my heart in the word cloud at the beginning of this. The state of your professional development, self-directed, stifled, exhausted, lonely. So this is the time. This is the time to get serious about your own development.
Yeah, okay, so learning, top key priority, development, developing the ones that we're with. When Fred Reichheld was with me, he talked about love as an internal part of culture, loving the ones we're with internally, developing them so that they can do. So this is how one of the important ways we can support employee retention and the creation of satisfied, thriving, happy people in our working cultures. So that brings us to here. What TRG is doing to partner with the field in this endeavor to learn about how, why, and what to be doing in this way. Tell us about Talent Lab, Keri.
Mm-hmm. So it is what you read here. Talent Lab is an incubator where we will be engaging in daring dialogue and community learning, all in the name of cultivating and developing you, the next generation of arts and cultural leaders, so that you can be fully lit, you can be high voltage. And there are 3 ways in which Talent Lab will deliver. The first is we'll be publishing and resharing interesting studies that we've been researching and learning. So we'll be publishing insights on how to create and maintain stunning cultures in the workplace. The second deliverable the Talent Lab will provide are workshops. We have our first one coming up in just 2 weeks. That's all about the art of feedback, giving and receiving it. Oh boy, can we all learn from that. But a series of workshops, about 25 to 30 of them yet this year, that are aimed at supercharging your skills as an arts administrator. And the last way that Talent Lab will deliver, and perhaps the part that I'm most excited about, is that Talent Lab will be conducting a series of cultural and workplace tests, experiments, if you will, to investigate curiosities or hypotheses about what impacts talent and culture in the most profound, positive, and results-producing ways. We're starting these talent and workplace cultural experiments here at home at TRG. And things that we'll be testing are, for example, learning sabbaticals for every employee. Does that enhance innovation? Experimenting with really focused work time. Think about a 90-day sprint where you're focused on one initiative. Does that produce stronger strategy? Does it quicken action? Right now, we are measuring what behaviors lead to us feeling our most creative selves. So we are experimenting, and here's where you come in. In the summer, we will be inviting the field, we'll be inviting you to join us in these experiments so we can learn together, we can problem solve together in these cultural and workplace experiments. I'm so excited about this part of it, Jill.
I am too. And I really want folks to be on high alert about this opportunity for us not to just learn as a firm, but with you, and to share that learning with the field. I am inspired by this. And it's like the field hasn't seen anything like this, I think. So all of us at TRG are sort of supercharged about this effort right now, developing our talent. That's all of you and your teams, so that you can do the best and most resilient work for our crucial sector. Okay, Keri, let's get this TRG 30 community in the learning mindset.
All right, you all, we promised I see lots of chats coming in, but now we're gonna engage everyone. So get ready, warm up your hands. Some of you may know about Google's 20% time rule. Here's what it is. In 2004, when Google went public, those founders knew that the company needed to be propelled by serious innovation. And they knew that that innovation wasn't going to come from employees simply just keeping up with deadlines, keeping up with email. They knew that wasn't going to get them far enough, fast enough. And so they created this rule that is still in place today. They give every single employee up to 20% of their weekly time, this isn't like your weekend time, of their weekly time to explore, discover, innovate, be curious about big ideas that serve Google. And in fact, it's through this 20% time rule over time that Gmail and Google Maps and Google News came to be. It was through this 20% time rule. So I want to talk to you about your 20% time. And I want to ask you 3 questions, and I want to just have you all put in the chat the answers to your questions. Let's inspire each other. I want you to imagine that you have 20% of your time to learn. Now, here's what I know you're saying to me. You're going, oh, brother Keri, I barely have 5 minutes to use the restroom every day. Here's what's true, you all. The ability to get out of the daily putting the fires out, and to imagine an alternative, to imagine what could be, it's a form of self-care. And you deserve to imagine something besides the fires that you're putting out today. So I ask you to just imagine 20% of your time. If you had 20% of your time to learn, what would you learn? Just put it in the chat. Let's inspire each other. I'll give you a few seconds to do that. Automate repeated tasks. Oh boy. Yes.
Employees passion, right?
Content creation, Jennifer. Yes. Indigenous cultures. Wonderful. Teaching techniques, Ellen. Department flow, Lori. About the people around me. Oh, Michaela, what a beautiful thing to want to learn. Data management. Getting better familiarized with my systems. Yes, Vanessa. Mindfulness. These are fantastic things. Motivational techniques, Kim, terrific. Okay, keep typing. I'm going to ask you, and then the second question. All right, you have a general sense of what you would learn. How would you learn that? What would it require? Would it require you to go shadow someone? Would you take a Coursera course? Would you take a week to read 2 books? How would you learn? I want you to think big. I want you to think big. Again, you deserve to think big. How would you learn it? Courses. How else would you learn what it is you want to learn? Executive coaching, Katie, yes. Yes, working with teachers with more experience, mentorship coaching, networking, hands-on learning. Oh, Scrum Master training. Books recommended by TRG. Adding it to my calendar, Kate, we're going to get there. We're going to get there, you bet. Researching what other industries have done, right? Google research. What a powerful tool. Okay, keep thinking, keep putting in the chat how you would learn what you say you want to learn. Here's the last question, you all. And I kind of want you to make a commitment to yourself around this. When will you do this? Even if this means you started in June, I don't care, but I want you to look at your calendar, or just imagine what your calendar looks like. When can you carve out? I sort of don't care if it's 20%. In fact, it doesn't need to be. I understand. We can't start there. 5%, 3 hours a month. When could you begin to do this? When could you put this in your calendar? Put it in the chat. Put it in the chat. March. Yes, very first hour of your workday. Friday, an hour per week. Yes, Kim. Just start there. When else? When else are you committing? When else can you put this in your diary? Morning pages, Lori. I love that. 2 full days a month, Amanda. I'm going to remember that. It's terrific. Okay. I want you to do this for yourself. Think about all of the good reasons to provide opportunities to yourself to learn. Here's the last thing I want you to do. I want you to, in the next couple of weeks, could be a month, just make a time commitment, engage your colleagues, your team, if you are a line manager, your boss in the same question. Again, self-care. You deserve to think big. Give them the chance to think about what they would learn, how they would learn it, when they would learn it, and then give them the time. I don't care if it's an hour to start a month. You can always increment up to whatever your 20% is, even if that's 10 or 15. But giving people and honoring people with the time to learn something new will return to your organization. And again, provide some barriers to keep the ones you're with, to develop those that you're with. Hi, Stephen.
It's just so great seeing all of this come into chat. We're going to take questions in just a moment to Keri, so use the Q&A button. We're going to have about 5 minutes for questions. Before we get to that, I want to talk about the 2 ways that you can get involved. There's a short survey that I've added the link to in chat, or you'll receive in the follow-up email after today's session, for us to understand the state of your development. It's all anonymous, and we'll be publishing the results of what we learned from this survey. So let your voice be heard and help contribute to this as we come over the following weeks and months with Talent Lab. And secondly, join us for the first 2 Talent Lab workshops. Learn the art of giving and receiving feedback. The 3 of us will be giving each other feedback after today's TRG 30 session, for sure. We all need this, and you should join us for that session. And secondly, your revenue targets, make better budgets. Find out how at Talent Lab, and we can't wait to launch. There's more events to come, more to launch. You're going to see all of those over the coming weeks and months for sure. So thank you in advance for contributing there, and you can follow all of the latest of that on our LinkedIn and Twitter channels too. Okay, on to questions. Keri, I just want to start off by asking how you got so interested in this topic and in people's development. You're so passionate about it. You energize us all internally at TRG. How did this all start for you?
Thank you for asking that, Stephen. It sort of goes back to what I said at the beginning of this. I have empathy and parallel experiences, right? So I remember my first job. I worked for people who let me out of a box, even when they probably shouldn't have. They gave me so many opportunities. And I remember my growth was huge. And then my next job, it was not. I was suppressed. I wasn't learning anything new. And I remember what that felt like. And my own seasons, my own cycle of being in arts organizations and sort of having opportunities, and then when I didn't. So it's me, right? It's personal for me. And I meant what I said at the beginning. Having been a consultant with TRG for so many years and working with so many of you, I recognize that and I understand that. And I wanted to create a space for us to engage together around you and the development of you. So that's how.
I want to come back to a comment in chat that Alan made almost at the beginning of the session, where Alan says the vicious circle of badly run organizations, the fear that by offering professional and personal development, we'll find out that the organization isn't worth staying for. You believe that is a barrier to encouraging personal development? I mean, it's interesting, right? By creating and investing in people for them to go, what would you say to leaders in this room that may have a fear of that?
It's sort of hard. It's hard. I understand the question, but the development of, if we provide an environment for people to be fully lit, I'm going to keep using that. My gosh, aren't they going to want to stay? Aren't they going to have an experience that says, look what I am provided. Look at the impact that I have. My purpose is clear. I'm clear about the purpose that I serve in my organization. It's foreign to me slightly, but it is worth loving the ones we're with for our own enlightened self-interest as an insecure leader, right? They will produce results for us if we engage in this way, for sure, for sure.
Keri, what if money budgets are a barrier for more learning here? What opportunities or help can we offer employees? And we're thinking about that at TRG with access to Talent Lab for sure. And you'll see more about that to come. But what would you say if right now I can't assign the budget for talent development or professional development?
I think the first question is, why do we assume it's expensive, right? We assume it's expensive. I think the hardest thing in my experience is for leaders to get their head around affording the time. And I think we've made a pretty compelling case today about the importance of creating a priority in time. But for example, the workshops that we will be offering through Talent Lab are $89 a piece. Coursera, there's so much free stuff out there. I mean it when I say even Google research. It's free, just takes time. So it's why I wanted to prioritize the conversation around providing time for yourself and for your team. Because the truth is, learning is not expensive. It doesn't need to be expensive to start out with, for sure.
Yeah. And not only that, you're going to meet peers across the globe in Talent Lab. You're going to meet new people that will help support you on your learning.
Right.
Stephen,
what about...
I'm so sorry, I just want to make an observation. And Keri, one of the fears I think that executive leaders have is that by investing in people, it's taking away from the work. We don't have the time. What's your response to that? Well, I don't have time. We have so much work to do.
Again, it's puzzling to me. Meaning, okay, think about not what we don't have, but what the investment can gain, right? So if we allow someone to take the time to learn data management, right? And you as the employee can describe, here are the things that I'm going to learn, and here's the benefit. You can do that easily to our organization. Imagine that learning about data management increases efficiency in all of the ways that we know effective data management can help us. You begin to clearly see the return on investment in the learning, right? It's incumbent on all of us to be able to describe to our leaders, this is fair. Here's what I'm going to learn, and here's how it can benefit my organization. Here's how it can benefit us. That is incumbent on all of us to be able to describe that. But I know that you can. I know that you can.
Yeah. I wonder, Keri, if there's, like, in the last 30 seconds, one piece of advice you'd give to those people, right, that are in this call. I'm fascinated by the anonymous questions because it often means, like, how do I feel in my organization? I've got a leader that's not prioritizing this. What advice would you give?
Here's the truth about the advice that I would give you all. I hear this question all the time, and it indicates that we are waiting for a leader to do something, which is to get on board, to get in alignment. And my argument is that we can start by carving out 5% of our own time without permission. Why can't we demonstrate with a little internal test? Hey, actually, here's what I did. I took an hour a week over the last 6 weeks and I learned this thing. And as a result, now we're doing this in the organization. Ta-da. I suddenly have data for my leader. That isn't about long, emotionally charged conversations about what permission will you give me. You can start small, and then provide data to your leader that says, not these words, but you didn't even know, but here's what I've done. And here's the data. And here's what we're already doing in the adjustments I've already made. I've done that my whole career. There is power that you have and ability that you have, much more than you think you do, no matter where you sit in the organization. That's my advice.
Thank you, Keri and Jill. We're going to continue to support with nuggets of learning in upcoming TRG 30 sessions that are focused around some of our places that Talent Lab is focused, and provide you've carved out this 30 minutes. So this is one of the times when we're going to help to continue to support your learning in TRG 30. This is just the start of the conversation, and we can't wait for you to be involved with us. Thank you. We'll be back in 2 weeks. We're always available at trgarts.com and across our social channels. We'll see you again soon. Take care, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.